Beating stress at its own game. Stress is one of the things that affects so many people. And in my line of work, where I deal with entrepreneurs, every single day there's something that's probably pushing the business backward. There's something they're fighting against. So you've written about this in your book. Tell us more about what inspired you to write about beating stress. Is it really something that's possible? You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And again, I'm glad to be here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your continent. Yeah, recently, or I can't even say recently because I've written a book for a while now, but beating stress at its game is feasible. It is something that can be done. It is something that we can even do unconsciously as well. So let me just also give a recent um, experience. Like I hit a wall
Mhm.
emotionally, physically, even mentally. I hit a wall between managing expectations and showing up. And you know how LinkedIn can be so burdensome. You know, you want to be there 24/7. You want people to be aware of your brand. It's
Mhm.
stressful. So
It is.
I did something radical. I locked off because it's about me really. When we look at it, it's about you as a person. It's not what people think. It's not about the opinion of anyone. It is you. If you crash, like in my climb, we say OYO, that's on your own. It is you that bears the burden. It is you that will lie on the hospital bed. It is you that will be out for a while, not everybody. People will just say, oh, Toyin has been unavailable, but nobody will understand what you are going through or what you are passing through. So beating stress at its game is all on you. So I locked off. I decided not to have my devices on. I decided not to look at them. I just brewed my coffee and sat in silence. You know, I don't even want to go anywhere. I just sat and drank coffee. Because I know I don't need anybody's permission to be who I want to and to take care of myself. Like I tell people, self-care is not luxury, it is a necessity. And rest is not a reward because some of us think resting is a reward. It's not a reward. Your body needs it. And if you don't take care, your body will demand that rest. So we should aim not for when our body demands, because by the time your body is demanding for the rest, in short, it's like you are not here. You are here, but you are not here. You are kind of useless to yourself and to other people that you want to
Mhm.
please. So you have to learn how to take to embrace self-care in the real sense of the word. So before you crash, take care of yourself.
Mhm.
That's it.
Absolutely. And that's so noble because most people don't know when to stop. Like they have these deadlines, probably at work. You have, like you said, you want to grow your business. And so you're putting in overtime. And that's so noble of you because you knew yourself, you're self aware enough to know that I think I'm going overboard and I think I need to take a break at this point. And that's when you decided to pull away and to reset. That is so important. And that shows self awareness. What is it that you learned about yourself or remembered about yourself during this time when you took this break?
Yeah, like I said, I don't have to earn rest.
Mhm.
It's not a reward. I am allowed to be human.
Yeah.
I'm not a robot. I'm not a machine. I am allowed to be human. So if people don't see me online for a brief moment, even for a long moment, it's not that I have gone. No, I will return. It's more
Mhm.
like it. So
That's
I say,
that's really,
remind yourself to slow down.
yeah.
Slow down. Read a book. Sip some coffee
Mhm.
or other liquid as it may be your preference.
Yeah.
You can sip tea, you can take your whiskey, you can take your vodka. Just be cautious. That's it.
Absolutely. And that's really self empathy, because a lot of times we know how to show empathy to other people, and you're going to tell us more about how showing empathy to other people is, but also importantly, showing empathy to yourself, to know that,
Yeah.
you know what, I deserve to rest. We're going to be having a webinar on the 28th, and we're talking about this kind of empathy where somebody feels like they don't need to rest, they don't deserve love, care, and they just keep burning out and working because they're trying to prove some kind of point. So it's going to be a
Exactly.
good
Keep pulling some talent points.
Yes, and it ties into exactly what you're saying. So, with regard to showing empathy to other people, can you recall a moment when showing empathy to someone else helped them, but also shifted your perspective and helped you in your own challenges?
Just yesterday, I my content spoke about empathy, and empathy is more about being present, not
Mhm.
trying to take over. So I had a friend call me in tears. Sometimes what comes to you is, I have to make her stop these tears. I have to make her stop this. I have to make her stop crying. But some empathy is not necessarily fixing. You're not. I mean, it's not calling for help for you to fix. Sometimes empathy is just your presence and your listening. When people
Wow.
come to you, just learn to discern. Know that yes, you want to empathize with the person, but also be cautious enough to take a step back, because the person may not necessarily need fixing, it just needs a listening ear. So, as my friend was crying, I dropped everything and focused without fixing. I just focused on her, letting her know that without no distractions, I'm here for you. So I sat by her. I said, okay, babes, let's talk. I just sat, and after a while, when she regained her calmness, she opened up,
Mhm.
because that is like being able to gain my trust.
Mhm.
And as she was talking, I saw pieces of myself in her story,
Wow.
like my own silence was
Mhm.
reflected back to me. And that moment reminded me that we are all carrying weights that sometimes we will not even know. But
Mhm.
in our bid to help, in our bid to listen to others, we might just be able to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And as we help others to heal, we heal ourselves. It's just like sometimes you are giving a talk, you are giving a speech, or you are even training. You say some things that if you listen to yourself as you talk, it helps you. Oh, is that real? Can it happen like that? And in that way, you as you are being positive in the life of someone, that positivity comes back to you. So my offering empathy didn't just lift her, it lifted me, it softened me, it made me know that talking, listening helps.
Wow.
So when you need space to, I mean, we all need space to breathe. We all need space to connect. So when you want to emphasize with people, just don't take it as if, oh, I need to. Sometimes what the person needs is you to listen and for you to be present as they vent, as they rant.
Hmm.
You calm yourself and listen.
Hmm. Wow. I love the fact that once when you say that when you're listening to others, it also helps you to listen to yourself. Remember something about yourself. So as you're talking to others, you're also relearning. And that's so important because like you say, there's that invisible weight that we all carry. And it requires you to be mindful to know that at this weight has become so heavy for me. I probably need to take a step back, like you did in your experience. How has mindfulness impacted your life personally? And what's your favorite mindfulness practice?
Mindfulness taught me to stop rushing through life as if I'm going through a checklist.
Wow.
My favorite practice, coffee in silence. I'm a very early riser, so it helps me to just be me. I start praying, I sit down with my coffee and reflect, or I just blank out, just sit in silence, take my coffee, maybe with biscuits sometimes if I care, but especially with peanuts. I will add that because I've been on a training where somebody asks me this coffee thing. Do you like coffee that much? What brand of coffee do you take? I said, really? Let's hear coffee is not talking about drinking coffee. It's just creating that warmth for people to know that I have my space is safe and in my space there's no judgment. So if I sit in silence and catch my breath, do some breathing exercises, it's my reset button. Because sometimes you even wake up feeling stressed, but that short moment of taking my coffee in silence helps me to reset.
Hmm.
Even on busy days, I try as well to carve out time for myself, even if it's just a few seconds. I'll be able to ground myself, do a few seconds breathing exercises. Just be mindful of what I am doing. So I'm not saying mindfulness makes life perfect. No, but it has made me more present, more patient, more present and more patient. And very importantly, less reactive.
Wow.
Less reactive. So instead of blowing a vein, you know, I just take my time and be calm. I just keep quiet, even if I'm in a crowd and everybody expects me to say something, to join in the ruckus. I just stay silent.
That's really important, especially because the world is so chaotic right now, and we
Mm,
need those moments of reset. But I want you to talk
I do.
more to someone out there who is watching this and they're super busy. They can't find the time to just sit down. Maybe they have lots of children, they have a job, and they're failing to balance. What is that one tip you can give to this busy person to incorporate mindfulness, even if it's just for a few moments?
You see, we all have these moments. We all have times that we overstretch ourselves. our boundary lines become blurred because we now say yes to everything. We are not able to say no without guilt. But we cannot continue to run on fumes because we will eventually break down.
Mhm.
Because what made me to really step back is one day I caught myself snapping over very something really small, something that is not even, how do I put it? Something irrelevant, more like
Yeah.
it. Sometimes someone just says something irrelevant and it just picks you on the wrong nerve. I
Yes.
knew, oh girl, this is your wake up call. You can't go on like this.
Mhm.
So I stepped back, reassessed, and started asking, does this align with what truly matters? Align with what truly matters? So it is very important to shift from pressure to purpose.
Mhm.
Let it be more of purpose and less of pressure.
Mhm.
Don't wait for burnout to make a change. Burnout is not I am tired. It isn't. Burnout is like somebody, one is dead, emotionally, physically, mentally.
Mhm.
You just had it. You are totally exhausted. Lifting your arm could even become an issue when you are burnt out.
Yeah.
So don't wait for that crash. Don't wait for that crash. Once you see that you have been overstretching yourself, learn to relax, learn to rest. And please, rest is also not flipping through the channels on your television or scrolling through the internet. Because most, even some of the things we see, or if I would even say most of the news and the stories we read online are curated. So
Mhm.
when you start to fashion your life on such things that are just for the internet, most of them are not real. They are just there to make you undergo anxiety and you fall for it. So it's just best to know who you are, to know yourself, and learn to relax. Some people is just a
Absolutely.
bottle of, I mean, a small cup of cold water. Sit down with a cup of cold water if you drink cold water and gain and regain your calmness. Don't let the chaos take you under. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And in this time, there's so much addiction to social media. There's so much addiction to our phones because this is where we work. Sometimes the emails come through, and you have to be disciplined enough to take a step back and say, this is me time. Like you always have that coffee in silence moment. You need that time with yourself without the distraction, without scrolling through your phone. And I love that you said scrolling through your phone is not rest. Put the phone down, turn off all the notifications. You can still check them. You're not going to die if you give it 30 minutes before you touch your phone and check your notifications. Yeah? Put
Sure.
it aside and actually take a break. Breathe in, breathe out, reflect on who you are, and have that time with yourself such that you don't burn out. So, Miss Toyin, who is someone in your life who has shown you the power of empathy, and how has that affected you and your relationships or the community?
A close friend once sat with me through a very rough patch, a very rough patch in my career. She didn't sit with me to solve anything because we're not even in the same industry. So there's no way she would understand what I was going through. But she just said, I know you have this issue. I don't know what to do, but I'm here. So she sat. She was not, she didn't say anything. She didn't give me any advice. She just sat with me. And if I want to talk, I will talk. If I want to shout, I'll shout. I just kept ranting. Why is this happening? Why are they doing this to me? Blah, 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 blah. But she sat through it all. And that simple act of empathy changed how I show up for others. It's one of the reasons when you call me to say you want to have a chat, I don't, this is what you need to do. Most times, you also define what you need to do by yourself because you know yourself, you know you. I don't know you. I only hear what you are saying. Because people are even funny. Sometimes what you say is not what you mean. It's not what is in your mind. Sometimes it's not even what you are passing through. You just want to spend that time to talk. So I have learned to just be there, be present, listen, let you talk. And when you are done, or when there's a pause, I ask you, are you done? Some people will continue to talk. I already thought you were done, but you still continue to talk. So I'll just give you that space. I will hold that space and just let you have your time. And when you are finally done, you are calmer. If you have questions to ask, you ask. Some people say, you have done a lot already. Thank you. And that's that. We are done with this session. But some, you have to keep asking questions. So she really kind of gave me a format, I would say, and is a big one. It taught me that people don't always need answers, just like I said earlier. It's not every call, it's not every chat, it's not every um, issue that needs fixing. Some people just need your presence. So since then, I've been more intentional about listening. That's why you hear me say, I listen beyond words because I don't allow any distractions. And if I'm meeting with you, I prefer to do a Google Meet or like this, a Google Meet, and so that I can do it on my laptop and my phone can be off, so that there's no notification to distract me. I'm totally present for those couple of minutes or hours that you want to spend with me, and that will help your relationship to deepen and the walls that are causing the issues to soften, to even be pulled down. It's just all about presence and listening beyond words. Thank
Wow.
you.
That's really well said. And if there's somebody that's out there watching this and they need someone to talk to, Miss Toyin is the right person to reach out to. So be sure to send her a DM on Instagram and set up a call, as she said. We also have free resources. We have a webinar that's coming up on the 28th, and it's just going to be a chance for you to connect and have the time to learn more about your mental health. So if it's something that you can take advantage of, please check on the link and it will be shared soon. So we've come to the end of this live stream. Thank you so much, Join, for sharing your personal story. And one key takeaway for me is that empathy is so powerful. Not just empathy for others, but also for ourselves. Having the empathy for yourself to know that this is too much. I need to step back and have my coffee and silence, not scrolling on the phone, just coffee and silence. That was something that I'd take away. Is there one last thing you'd like to tell our audience before we log off?
Coffee in silence sounds very simple, and some people will say, hmm, can it work? It brings instant clarity and reminds me that I am not a machine. So it's something we can practice. And you can also go on walks. Depends. You cannot say because Story takes coffee and you also, I mean, you decide to also take coffee and sit in silence. No, discern what works for you. But my coffee in silence works for me. The most important is learn to pause. I think we all can do that. It doesn't have to be with coffee, it doesn't have to be with any liquid. Learn to take a step back and pause. When you wake up in the morning, before the rush, before reaching for your food, pause, breathe, breathe, do deep breathing exercises. Just 3 times. Breathe in, inhale, exhale. 3 times and regain your calmness. Thank you. Went off. Hey, am I here?
I'm so sorry. I lost my network.
Okay.
So I just decided to end the stream.